it's like, you know, when Solomon wrote that, it was a promise, and it's not a guarantee.
Right.
Because of what you said, like free will.
Mm-hmm.
Because as much as you know, we live our lives and glorify God, you know, you still have a choice when they get older, and sin's going to enter into the picture, and temptation's going to enter into the picture, and all these things are going to happen. Could drive them out. You know, is that seed there? Yeah, absolutely. But there's more of a guarantee that if you don't, they won't.
Yes, definitely.
So,
And you would heighten the potential of it being the right way by living it and doing it yourself.
Right.
Absolutely. And I think Jeremy hit on a point of the idea of control. Because they're really, with free will, there is none. They're going to make decisions and do things, and they're going to have all types of outside influences, family influences, and they got to make a choice. And it really is going to be their choice. And that's some of the hardest things we have to deal with, especially when you can imagine having a child that gets married really quick to like the first guy she thought she was in love with, and he didn't have a job, and she didn't have a job, and she's talking about dropping out of school to get a job, and he thought she was going to go to college, and she's going to graduate, she's going to do all these things. Very hard. Her choice, but still very hard. Very difficult, because we have a way that we think it's going to be, or at least it should be. We look at our children and we look at our lives and we say, man, if I had a do-over, I would have did it this way. And we want them to do it that way. Because that way it would have worked for us, not for them. And a lot of, to the degree of where we got to where we are now, we took a road to get there. Who says another way leads to the same road? You know, we often think, what would have happened if my family were millionaires? Would we be in the church still today? Maybe not. Maybe not. What if we had that addictive tendency? That doesn't tend to run in my family, but if we had that, what would happen? Would we still be in the church? Maybe not. But the problems that we did have, we took a path that got us to where we are today. And to deviate from that, you know, might not have been the thing. Two more principles I want to give you, something about that you can take and use now. The first has to do with the relationship between the parents and the children. A lot of times our old school thinking was that you need a wife who's going to tell the daughter what to do, the husband who's going to tell the son what to do. And you know, for the son to become a man, his dad needs to tell him about that, and the girl to become a woman, the mother needs to tell her that. And that's false. That's the way Dr. Spock, who didn't have kids, told everybody that. And the idea is that is a natural process. They're going to grow up and things will just happen on their own. They're going to grow up to be adults. Whether they be responsible or nothing, that's up for question. But you can't stop a boy from growing into a man unless you kill him. Same thing with a girl. It's just going to happen. But there are things that need to be taught. The best way for my son to learn how to treat a woman is by watching me and listening to what his mother says about it. What women like, what they respect, what bothers them, I would only be guessing and looking at my results and my experience and trying to figure it out. Now I can show him by how I treat his mom and show the reverence and respect and how you talk to her and those kind of things. He'll see that in me. But how to treat a woman? Oh, my wife would do a better job of that than me. But any woman would do a better job than a guy of that. That just makes sense. But now, for me, being the husband, I can definitely tell my daughter the type of man. Definitely tell them about men, some of those little lines that they say. You know about those little lines? Those little slicksters that say that kind of stuff and what they're looking for and why and at what age hormones take over and what they're thinking. Because I was 12 and 13 too. And I know what they're thinking and how physical they can get and how all of that testosterone does in a young boy. But showing them an example and letting them see what love and intimacy is outside of sex. Daughter learns that from her dad. And it is that closeness that the daughter and the dad have that stabilize her later in life. Take away that element. What do you think happens? Take away the element of the closeness of a father with his daughter. Take that away, and what does that produce in the daughter? Do you know? That produces codependency. What's codependency? It's not drugs.
Not strong enough to stand on their own.
Well, not even that. It's looking then for approval and and she tries to get it out of the relationships. So when you say, oh my gosh, you're dating him, you're better than that. Well, no, he said the magic words like, oh honey, you're beautiful. Oh, I love you. Oh, we'd be great together. You know, the dad should have secured the daughter in her understanding that, one, she is beautiful. And she's not beautiful so much because of this physical thing, but her inner beauty is more radiant than her outside beauty, although she has that too. He's the one that says, you know what, you can do anything you put your mind to. You're brilliant like that, honey. She needs to hear the first man she would ever love say that. That's dad. No one has that kind of influence on her daughter but a father. God intended that. But it is their relationship that separates her from just going with any line that a guy throws out and being able to have that kind of closeness. To be able to hug and to kiss and to have intimacy without it being sexual and someone doing something to her. Your daughter should not learn about sex and all of those things outside of the family unit. It should be taught in its purity and the way it was intended at home. And it's not a taboo subject for us. It's something that we should be teaching. And that relationship should be established. Do you know with the interaction of a father and a daughter's life, it will show you or make her more comfortable in dealing with the opposite sex. If there's not a lot of interaction there, she's going to be kind of standoffish and prey to those others. That's what she'll become, prey to them. On the flip side, the mother's relationship with the son, an overbearing mother who does everything for her son, does what to him? Enables him, absolutely. And that boy becomes enabled, and he can be a 30, 40-year-old boy. Why? Because he's never had to do anything himself. And the idea is, he never could stand on his own 2 feet because mom jumped in. And everything that was hard, everything that was challenging, mom jumped in and tried to fix it or did it for him. You know, we were in church, this is 3 years ago here, and I saw this woman. She is in her 70s, her son is in his 40s. And she was sitting in like the second row, and he came in late and was sitting in the back row, and we were passing a collection plate. She dug in her purse and got change and passed it to him like this, so he could put money in church. My goodness, the guy's 40. Well, and the idea was she gave him change like he was 10. But just the idea that she wanted him to put something in church. Why? Because are we supposed to look at what the clankety clank? We're supposed to think, oh, he's either a paper boy or what is he doing? But the idea was she was still doing those things for him. Still doing them. He's 40, still doing them. Why? He can never stand on his own. He's been enabled. My mom enabled my older brother exactly like that. And she thought because she had him when she was 16 and she was married and lived down south, and you know, she had him. She said, I was just too young. I didn't know what I was doing. I made a lot of mistakes. So it's my fault. So because it's her fault, he's 54 and she's still doing stuff. What in the world's going on there? Just doesn't make any sense. But she feels it's her fault. So he'll come to church and sit right next to her for 40 bucks, because that's what every time he sees her, he hits her up for. He does. Mom, I need 40 bucks. We don't have any food at the house. Are you like allowed to say that at 54? But you have any food at the house? You have any jobs at the house? You can get out there. There are none in the house. Go out and get one. But that's just the reality of their relationship. He's been enabled for a number of years. I watched as they did things. I remember one time I was angry with him for about a decade, because when I was in high school, they gave him a car that should have been mine. They were helping him out. He's out of the house. That car, the extra car, I'm already labeling it for me. I got my license and they gave my car away. I cannot tell you how riding with somebody else in high school is. That's just a bad thing. You're not cool. But anyway, but I was angry because once again, here they are helping him, getting him an apartment, getting all this for him to lose it and do all that, but never standing on his own 2 feet. Never. Never had to. So it crippled him. It crippled him for life. And mothers and their nurturing, when it is overbearing like that, you end up crippling the son. And now he's good for nobody. And so that son will go off, and he will look for somebody else who will do just that. And so then he gets hooked up with your daughter, and now she's working 2 jobs, and he's at home and won't even babysit. That's the horrors of it. But that's what happens. So the balance of the two is how we build a relationship with